All right, this is our color wheel flower mixing demonstration. So we're gonna do this in class. So this video is only if you're not going to be in class, if you miss class, or if you just want a second look. So it is spring, and I thought that this was a great time to talk about the color wheel because spring is when things like flowers start growing. So we're gonna make ourselves a flower for spring that is also a color wheel. So the color wheel is going to be really important. It's going to show how colors relate to each other. It also helps you make really beautiful designs the way that you use the color wheel, and you'll learn about that the more and more art that you take. So we're going to start by drawing our flower first on our paper. Now the first thing that I'm going to do is very lightly with my pencil, barely pushing with my pencil, I'm going to make a big X like this, just like the letter X. And then I'm going to put a line through its middle like that. And that's going to give me about 6 equal spaces. Okay. Now with each of these spaces, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a curved line that connects the line edges together from there. So I'm just making a nice big round shape with my pencil, just to make a nice kind of flower petal shape. Okay. And if you make any mistakes, remember Mrs. Kukla makes mistakes all the time when she draws, so don't worry about it. You can always fix it. That's why we like to use pencils, because pencil, we can erase it if we want to try again. So I'm just going to get my flower petals nice and big on my paper so I can use a lot of paint today, because we're going to be using watercolor paints. Now you can also draw a stem coming down. I'm just going to draw a nice thick stem for my flower, and you can even do a little leaf if you want. You can make your leaf any shape. I like to make kind of a curvy leaf like that. Okay. And then what we are going to do is we're going to paint in our color wheel. And I do want you to follow along with me when you do this, because we're going to make sure that our colors go in the right places. But we're not going to use every color in our paint palette today. We're only going to be using red, yellow, and blue. And that's because we're going to mix our own colors for our other colors. Now, red, yellow, and blue are really important because they are called the primary colors. And the primary colors are important because they are going to be the colors that you mix together with each other to make all the other colors on your color wheel or in the rainbow. Okay, so what I want you to do first is activate your paints like I just did, and then we're gonna swirl, 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 swirl our brush around in that red first. And I'm going to paint my red over here on this petal. Nice and careful job. Remember that we talked a lot about how to hold your paintbrush, how to paint with it. So paint in one red petal. And I'm going to go fast in this demonstration because you can always pause this video. We'll go slower in class. Next, I'm going to swirl, swirl, swirl around in my yellow. And my yellow I'm going to put kind of over here across from the red. Skip a space and then do the yellow over here. So a nice yellow petal, rinse, rinse, rinse. And then I'm going to swirl, swirl, swirl around in my blue to get my blue paint mixed up, and I'm going to skip a space and do blue down here. Okay, so you should have red, skip a space, yellow, skip a space, blue. So there should be one empty petal in between each of your primary colors. And then I'm going to rinse. Okay, so for each of my other colors, these ones are going to be called secondary colors. And secondary colors are when you take two primary colors and you mix them together. So if this petal is going to be in between yellow and red, I am actually going to paint yellow down really quickly, grab some red and paint that on there too, and mix those two colors together to create my orange. Because orange is the secondary color you get when you mix together red and yellow. Now I do want you to mix your colors. I don't want you just to use your orange paint because that's no fun. It's more fun to mix them and do some experimentation. Okay, the next one is in between yellow and blue. So quickly, I'm gonna paint on my yellow, rinse, rinse, grab some blue, paint it over the top and mix. And I am going to end up with green. So green is the secondary color you get when you mix yellow and blue together on the paper. I'm gonna rinse, 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 and our last one is going to be red and blue together. So again, gotta paint it on there kind of quickly. Don't let that paint dry out on you because you wanna mix them together while the paints are still wet on the paper. And when you mix together red and blue, you get purple. Now my picture is kind of sticking to my tabletop. I forgot to put my paper towel down. So my colors will lighten up as they dry. Now if you'd like to go ahead and use green, you can for your stem, or you could mix your yellow and your blue on your stem as well, but you can go ahead and mix your color if you'd like, or just get some green and paint in the stem of your flower and then the leaf as well. And that's our basic color wheel. So if you have set up your colors the correct way, it should look like a rainbow that goes in a circle. And basically, if you have mixed your colors together as they dry, you're gonna see that they look really beautiful. So awesome job, everybody. That is your basics of mixing colors, and that is the layout of our basic color wheel.